Okay, so I figured out what was going on, why I wasn't able to have a range of stitch in the forward direction, like why that, in the back there's a stitch guide. Actually, I'm going to unplug this and then I'll show. So the stitch guide's supposed to be, it's correct like per the technical brief or the service manual documents, and all the 6000 series I own, the exception of 6690, that has to be rotated back for forward. Is this little face here is perpendicular or vertical at stitch length 0, and then it tilts the top forward for reverse. Well, this button, this actually, that up-down arrow, I don't recall seeing that. This button's a little different. This cap doesn't pop off. It's like a solid cap. And it has an up-down motion. So you can push in and then push down. And what that does is it locks. So you see it's like a, here I'll go full range of motion. This guide's still loose. But you see it's 0, 0. Then if I rotate to 4, you see now it's rotated into 4. So what's going on is this dial can do a stitch length in reverse if this is pushed locked down. Now you see I just pushed it up, and now I go, it's pushed up. Now if that was moving freely, it's getting loose, but it's still kind of stiff. It's not entirely stuck, but it's stuck. So now I get a full range of motion. Now I'm going down to 0, and now it's 0. So that's correct. But you see as I go back, it's hanging up at like 1 or 2, somewhere in there. That's supposed to be 4. So main thing is I was able to create forward stitches and reverse, like I say, maybe between stitch length 1 and 2, I can trigger reverse and I'll go back forward. But otherwise, any longer stitch length, it stays stuck. So that's really good. That's awesome. I'll let this soak a little longer. Maybe I'll use a little thinner like IPA in there. That might work. I'm curious to see how this lamp oil works, because it definitely leaves, it doesn't even dry up that much that I can tell. I doubt being refined kerosene will leave a residue, and probably nothing like whatever was used on these before. I saw here at first that goop that dried up. Now I might wind up removing this, and I don't really see a detail anywhere in the manuals showing, but I'm guessing I just remove these 2 screws, this cover comes off, and then that'll, this will come off somehow, or I guess this will slide off in entirety, if I can remove this lever out of the way, which I'm guessing with these 2 bolts, bolts removed, screws, I guess you could say, removed, then that should come out and be able to at least be out of the way and free up. And I'm guessing, if anything, it'll give me a little more, I can put a paper towel underneath and a little more room to irrigate this part. But it'll be nice just to be able to pull that right out, clean this off, that shaft and that inside, slide that back on. It seems like that's all it's really binding up the zigzag mechanism. Otherwise, once this is free to have a full range of motion, that should be good to go. I've got this thread's in the way. I've got it mounted up over there. Yeah, otherwise, I think that's the only thing that I'm observing until I get to where I'm speccing out for any, calibration or timing. And I don't see a timing issue, but I'll notice that probably in the zigzag stitches. Any other service procedures is noted that seem to be pretty much clear what's needed to be in regards to centering and whatnot. Okay, I just want to document that. So yeah, I don't recall that in the other ones where you can push this down and do the reverse stitch length settings. I'll take a look, and maybe there is, I just never noticed. And then, yeah, just get that loosened up. I think all the rest of the mechanisms are okay in regards to needle position. That seems to be moving no problem. It's just the pivoting right up here to do the zigzag, the zigzag range of motion that's not wanting to cooperate. I mean, it moves now. It was really stuck, but yeah, it wasn't really moving at all. This seems like cheap steel too. Be very careful. That just moving that with my finger looks like it bends. So, and so I was a little wondering that gap in there too, if that could mess up over time. But yeah, I think it's about all. Can't think of anything else. Okay. Be safe. Take care. And peace.